Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for the episode 34 of the Shonen Ronin podcast, the Shonen Ronin show. So let's get started and see our beautiful faces, and let's start the show. Hey! Right here is LegendDVash, myself, and right here, as always, SamtheMangaMan. And if you guys didn't see the Thursday show, our newest member, Kendall Grant, or D Grant, right? How does it feel to be on the
What up,
Shonen Ronin show and to
guys?
talk about mangas, my boy?
Oh man, it's great. Having I guess our debut week. It's been fun. Thursday was great, and I'm looking forward to having conversations today about some of the hot mangas out.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Kaiju number 8, Black Clover. Yes, Black Clover. We're here to discuss it. Would it be good stuff, bad stuff? Let's see and find out. JJK and My Hero Academia and Undead Unluck, if I didn't say it in the beginning. But yeah, those are the 4 series that we will be discussing. And let's see how it goes. And the first one we'll be covering is Kaiju number 8 in the rundown. So, as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you like what you see, share it to your friends, share it to your grandmother, share it to your aunt, share it to your people around the world. It's gladly to see that if you enjoy our content, share it to others. Other than that, let's jump straight into Kaiju number 8 discussion, chapter 57. What was the name? This is episode 5, right? Arc 5.
Six, six, I believe. But
Yes, I think we're going into six now officially.
All right. So, how do we feel about this chapter that we finally get to some more information and the full squad knowing that they're about to take out Kaiju number 9?
I mean, it was a good chapter in title, and yeah, entirely. I mean, and like it's still being a setup arc or setup chapter in sort of way because the vice captain agreed to Kaiju number 10's weapon design form, and then we were told that number 10 was technically a prototype. Since since Kaiju number 9 was the one that created number 10, and it seems like in the last page of the chapter, you see like cocoons of himself, of Kaiju number 9's, but I guess more than like just a prototype, not a prototype anymore, but a full complete version of himself.
Yeah, some other type of vessels are definitely present. I think this was a really good world expansion chapter. Like it wasn't super heavy on the lore. Obviously, there wasn't any action, but we got to see. We already saw the little friction between Division 1 and Division 3,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and we get to see the other captains as well, which we hadn't really had any sight of them. So it's like okay, we kind of get a full scope picture, and it's now segueing into hey, this is a bigger battle than we even thought that we were doing, and it's gonna take all of us to come together to do something about it. And I think, like I said, I think that was a really good setup. I'm glad they didn't force the reunion with Squad 3, and after I think that was kind of like I'm glad they kind of like hinted at like oh man I need to go apologize to Vice Captain, but like they didn't force it into the episode. I think it was a really balanced chapter. It was really good.
What I like about this chapter is that we finally get the conversation of all the hotheads. Like it's like you said, the first captain, the third captain, the fourth division captain. Like we all get all the different type of personalities, and we see more of the grander scale of Japan, and they also acknowledge that like yo, this is a bigger scale. That if we lose this battle, this war, Japan, the whole nation is lost. So I'm happy that also acknowledge the power and how much they have to do to fight against this. So that was very appreciated as a chapter, knowing that they have a lot on their hands, knowing what is coming in the next battle.
Um, yeah, other than that, it was a nice setup and every introduction. Like Kendall said, world building more, and I guess it's more. What else can you train with Kaiju number 8 and with the other people from the third division and sort of stuff? We still haven't met Kafka's best friend, the young
Yeah,
guy.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
I'm hoping to meet them next chapter or the next two to see how much they have trained, because last time we left off with them was like in chapter 32, 38 around there. And the last time we left off is that they were going to do some hard ass training. So my hope is that they've gone stronger, develop up with some skills, with some weapons. So I'm curious to see how much they're gonna be up and ready to be on the side with Kafka, and curious to see what the new weapon for Kaiju number 10 will be, knowing that he has the will to actually want to be a weapon. So I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, I think the previous chapter was basically Kafka and I'm forgetting her name right now, the daughter. You kind of got your two main your protagonist and your Deuteronomist. You know, you got both of them in the scene. It's like, here's the expectation. You know, she needs to beat all of the vice captains, all the squadron leaders by a month's time. All right, cool. Then you got Kafka, and it's like, all right, we can't keep you around, but I'm gonna use you. You're gonna be a weapon. You know, you were there. You have to get your redemption. I need to get my redemption, and I can't do this without you. You're part of whatever this plan has to be. Then we kind of get the intro to, hey, here's the plan, and the plan is going to involve everybody. So yeah, I think the next chapter is definitely going to be like, if not the next chapter, because the next chapter may very well be some more planning setup for like what exactly they want to do, kind of maybe talking about centralizing a base, a location operation kind of thing, or kind of establishing some type of means of communication so that maybe they don't want to be clustered in one spot. You know, they might want to be spread out still, but kind of figuring out how they're going to communicate. And then between the next chapter and this one, we'll definitely have, I think we'll have the rest of the guys come back in, because yeah, we definitely want to see, his development, because he kind of was like, you kind of see him as being a prodigy, and then he just gets blown out of the water constantly about what he can contribute to the fight. So I'm looking to see hopefully a very decent power spike for him, or some new equipment or something.
Agreed. So it's more to see what the creator or the mangaka is gonna bring, new weapons designs, like axe throwing. Like, I'm curious to see if we're gonna get like a shotgun axe, because that's always been a fan favorite in most type of storytelling when it comes to kaiju, zombies type of thing. So I'm curious to see if one of our characters is gonna get like a shotgun axe, because that would be pretty interesting. How would it be different in this world as well?
I only also see like there's only the 4 captains, and just because technically 2 of them are vice captains underneath their division. Wasn't there like 7 they established?
Yeah, I thought
that?
there was like 6 to 8 squadrons.
I thought there were 6 to 8, but maybe the other 4 divisions are gonna protect the people, protect the civilians. So like maybe the more of like a medical field, some people are gonna do some type of evacuation. So that's my guess.
Or people could be out on missions. Like if the division captain for one of them is specifically responsible for like cleanup, there's like mass cleanup going on. So maybe they can't be present for this initial meeting or whatever the case may be, because we really don't have a great idea of the role dynamics of each. We just know they're responsible for different regions. So either maybe these are the 4 that were closest that could assemble. Maybe there's other things going on that, cleanup efforts, rescue efforts, evacuation efforts that's going on that the other squads are leading up right now. Or maybe there's a spy and they were excluded intentionally.
They haven't really established like spies, other characters and that stuff, because the first way we're introducing like the 6 or 6 8 captains where they're all in like uniform and had like masks on, so that you give the mangaka time to establish like drawing different kind of character looks and stuff like that. So at least you can introduce them in like the full-on uniform, and then you see the first captain taking off his mask. Are you sure about this cat? And literally, he was the next character we go into in the next episode, like following arc. And now we got 2 more of the faces for real in the captains. One looks like the old man from the animes, especially with the goatee and beard.
Yeah.
He's like kind of character that loves to drink, and then you bring in the comedy. Like, you're drinking like while in the meeting in the work after you just said, "Yo, chill, we don't need this argument and stuff." And of course, I think a muscle woman.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. The brute force captain.
Yeah, I think that was the 4th division, right?
That was the second. Yeah, the 4th division was the guy with the alcohol.
The drunk.
The
drunken.
And the second division captain is the looks like the tanker, the weapon, the muscle girl.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's a beat stick person. It's either the muscle punching everybody in the face first person, or the super tank that thinks they can take every hit.
Yep.
Whichever one of those archetypes they're gonna branch that character into.
I also think it was also an insult to injury for number 9 to still have like the squad's captain, the general captain, like still has his face look, but you just see him slowly regenerating into a new body and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, towards the end of the chapter, yeah, that was like I literally forgot for a second. I was like, dang, he really still preserving this form of the old captain as a base.
So, my guess that he is losing body part is because he has to spread it to make his clones or to make his other prototypes. That's my guess.
That's the formality there.
Yeah, like
I mean,
so
he
like,
also
I guess they
he
have
also
to spread
taken
the DNA.
He also taken like core injuries too.
So you think he's just healing very slow?
Probably both. Probably trying to regenerate his core, but also I think you're right. Maybe it's two different abilities that require a lot, and it's just like too taxing to maintain the form in one while he's doing the other. So probably a combination of both.
That could be, but I think that's a good convo, a good breakdown of Kaiju number 8, chapter 57. So are we all good?
I'm good.
Yep.
All right. So I feel like the next one that I'm kind of hyped to discuss about is My Hero Academia. How do we feel about that to jump into next?
Yes.
All right. So My Hero Academia chapter 346 discussion starts now. So how do we feel? I want to start first with Kendall. Like, how have you been enjoying this arc overall? Because this is your first time to actually discuss the My Hero manga itself. So how you feeling where it's heading, and how you feeling overall with this series also going to be ending sometime this year at the end or the beginning of next year, just like Dr. Stone ended today. My Hero Academia will also be ending sometime soon. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts from me in regards to that is I definitely felt like this was a natural progression coming out of the big kind of war. We'll call it a war. We'll call it the big initial war arc, the release of the villains and all of that stuff. It just felt like this was the natural progression of things. I kind of like this is kind of one of my predictions of the way that it would have to go. I was thinking that maybe we'd get a time skip in here. I'm glad we don't. We did get like a little break, but it was only like maybe a week or 2 weeks of development for Deku essentially. So I think that was I think this is good. I don't like when we try to drag out series for the service of the fans. There's already Vigilante out there. I think more mangakas need to take that aspect of finish your core series the way it is, and then progress other things around the series if you're gonna get the resources. Because I mean, this is a popular series. There's no way they don't allow. I am pretty confident we're gonna get Vigilantes announced to anime in the next couple of years. I don't see a reason not to do so. Probably maybe once the anime catches up to where the arc is right now, I think we should be getting announcement for Vigilantes because it only makes sense. And there's a lot of things that get filled in coming up to this part of the story, honestly, it would make sense for Vigilantes to kind of start to be incorporated. But as far as like where we are right now, I think it was good. It's been a while since I got the twist that I wasn't expecting. I knew we were gonna use him. I knew we were gonna use Ayoma. I did not think that it would work the way it worked. I didn't think I really just saw it being seen through. I did not think we were gonna dupe the big bad. I didn't think that it was gonna play out exactly the way it played out. And I'm grateful for it. And the one thing that this mangaka does really well is there's always a wrestling. And I feel like this is what you saw in this chapter. It's like, okay, everything's not gonna go all in one side's favor rather. So the good guys, yeah, all right, finally got the one up. You were able to prep. You did all these different things that basically the villains didn't think you were gonna be able to do. However, where's Deku? So I really like that dynamic where it's like, there's a constant pull back and forth between like where the story is going, who's in charge, who's in control of what's going on. Because constantly it's really just a battle of who's in control of the dynamics of the fight. And I think what I'm seeing here is setting up for a really big fight coming soon. You already seen people got paired off. You see, Bakugo's kind of like, vanguarding for when Deku comes back. You got Todoroki ready to fight off against Dabi. You got all of these other different things kind of playing itself out and kind of setting itself up. And there's definitely other bigger bads that are kind of laying around. And then ultimately, it's like you kind of boil that down. I love the way that they ordered who's pairing up with each other, because you boil that down and you finish off the chapter with Toga pulling Deku, but Danger Sense doesn't get triggered by it, which I thought was super important and relevant, because I still felt like there was this dynamic that Toga isn't fully bad, fully good kind of thing, and
Agreed.
she really just wants to have a certain level of answers provided to her. And Deku, she still hasn't had that conversation with Deku. Like, I feel like all the different villains have their, like, Dabi says it perfectly, like, I'm not taking orders from you, leader. Like, that, I'm here to do what I gotta do. You do what you want to do. I'm gonna fight who I need to fight. And I think that's important to kind of see those dynamics play out the way that they're going to. Again, I like the way everything's being laid out. It is very My Hero typical as far as the formula that they have shown us thus far, but I really think that we're gonna get something really unique and special. And My Hero Academia in its final arc is going to solidify itself as one of the GOATs.
Well said. Really well said for recapping your thoughts of what's been going on so far with up to chapter 346. Yeah, I agree with you for all out, and to add more into what you just said. Like, it's really good. I don't think Horikoshi have missed a single chapter in months, and I think it all worked out so well that the flow of My Hero Academia works so well to, it's going to succeed up to its last chapter, to the last episode of the anime. It's gonna solidify itself where everybody's gonna remember My Hero Academia. I think what's going on so far of the first plan coming together to stop Shigaraki, keep him in the air, have the tight ropes up, have the electromagnetic field, and as well as having Monoma using Eraserhead's quirk to erase the quirk.
For me, I really I agree with what you just said, Sam, that they broke it down and understood what happened with our boy Shigaraki. They understood that they need to keep him off the ground, they need to keep him in the air, and with this whole electromagnetic field going around it, and that was smart. But at the same time, they also acknowledge that they don't fully know what he's doing, because they haven't seen him in his actually perfected state before, when the song was imperfected. So they acknowledge, like, yo, because at the end of the chapter, I like how Miracle asked, yo, Dynamite, what is that? And Dynamite said, yo, I've never seen that before. So they acknowledge that there's still some things about Shigaraki, or technically All For One, that they have not seen some quirks of his. So I love how we those are new things that we have acknowledged in this battle. But they're doing great. But also, that last quirk, I think it's just like a clone, because it looks like it's just because it looks like it's a bunch of hands only, and it's just attacking Miracle.
It actually reminds me of, remember for the League of Villains arc, we had Chigaraki's head, and we see all these hands that was in his mind, kind of thing. Like, it was projecting where he's giving up everything. Like, he just accepts the All For One quirk. And these reminds me of those hands. Like, literally, you're projecting what it was in your evil avatar state from of the All For One quirk, and you're releasing it outdoors. It looks like outside. It does explain his regeneration, so that's how you can regenerate your entire fingers back. And unfortunately, this quirk cannot be erased neither.
Yeah, I think it actually might be a scary thought. I think it might be quirk mutation. I think it might be a second evolution based off of the previous evolution and awakening of the quirk.
It could be possible. This is like a wonderful mutation. You know how in the Marvel comics, with the X-Men characters, they have a mutant X gene, but from what they know and train, they only know a bit about the powers. But once they train and actually go to the full actually go to the full potential and unlock those powers, there's an actually more of a mutation of their own powers from what they originally thought. So that's why I feel like with Shigaraki, that's what's going on with his quirks. That the more that Alpha 1 has added with the more quirks, the 7 plus 10 plus a lot more quirks they've added, as it has given him more of a mutation or more like an awakening. So I agree.
Yeah, a deeper awakening of some sorts. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Because it makes sense of why Eraserhead or the kid that I hate, Monoma, why they cannot stop the quirk, because they don't know which quirk to target, or there's too many quirks for them to actually stop. So it makes sense why Shigaraki said that you are a letdown. So it makes sense on that.
But then
the villains have been prepping too, so you don't know if it's something else, maybe another combination of stat quirks specifically to help neutralize Eraserhead's abilities. Because again, we have to think that, like I said, there's some pull and there's some tug and pull, right? So who knows what have been done to kind of like go around the idea of Eraserhead being able to nullify the abilities. Maybe it's like, for instance, on the same premise of what Vash was just saying, maybe it's like the quirk has the ability to go between more than one form, and by toggling between these different forms, it offsets what you're targeting for Eraserhead's his quirk, his ability.
I agree, and also I just want to comment to the comment that I just put on the stream. They said, I feel like the author of My Hero is rushing towards the end, or at least that's my opinion, and I don't like how underdeveloped most of the students are. The way how I tell people always that, imagine you're in high school, like we were. You don't know all your classmates' history, their personalities. You only know it's like top five. Like your classmates are top 20, top 25, right? You don't know all of them or their backstories or where they live. You only know a good hand amount that you could count, like a 5 up to 10 max. That's for me how I see My Hero. We know the good handful. We know about Momo. We know about Bakugo, Shoto. We know about Ida. We know about our certain characters. And the other characters, we know a bit of the reason why they want to be a hero. We know a bit of the reason why they want to be a sidekick, etc., etc. That's how I feel like we don't need to know every student, because it's just like we weren't kids. We only know like a certain amount of kids as our classmates as well. That's how I see it.
I think
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Like there's already like some enough content around for all the students' name, and they all had their own MVP moment within like every certain arc that they're in. Because like even this chapter, for example, Momo is needed for the equipments for the engineers to build this.
Which that's dope.
It's and then there's also the electric boy using his electric powers to power up the station. Like it's still an important role.
And the manga person, so that's not even a class A person. We have a mix of both class A and class B people that shine in this chapter.
And
which
No, but the thing is, like, this is smart, because at first, when we saw this last chapter, like, oh my god, there's a whole damn island up. But then I'm curious to see, like, how did they make it to fly up? But then to actually see that every student, every person is actually putting in the 1% type of effort to make this possible and be 100%.
I wouldn't say 1% each. Like everybody's giving their 100%, so that we get like 100%.
Each student is putting all their effort, and they combine it to 100%. Is what I'm saying. Like, each student is putting all their 100%. Like, for example, Momo, she's putting the whole supply and demand. So that's something that most people can't do right now, because they said it. They're short on supplies, so smart of how they're doing it, and they have their electric type of guinea pigs. That's the thing I'm laughing. But like, these kids are literally their batteries. They're other chargers. But they knew
their jobs. All the electric guys, they know their jobs. If you actually see Static Shock here, he would do the same thing. He's the one that gives the most powers, if anything.
And Black Lightning has done that too, many times in the comics.
No, I think we're underestimating what effort is being put in here to tie so many multiple parts of the story together. That's not to put down your point in the comments. Please do not be mistaken by that. What I'm saying is we're tying in the actual premise of, it's literally a clash of how the hero society should be versus how it shouldn't be. This is how the hero society should work. These are the true heroes that I don't know if you caught that theme, you guys, in reading this. They kind of alluded to that idea of like the true heroes. Like, we're the ones, we're here for the universe. We're not here for ourselves. They kind of brought back that point again. I was like, a real hero doesn't do it for themselves. A real hero does it for the sake of everybody else. And that's kind of like a big point that kind of gets highlighted. So you got that in this chapter. Again, you got Class A, Class B, a slew of heroes, injured and uninjured. Everyone's just trying to do all that they possibly can to kind of get to this ultimate part. Like, you know, kind of Vash is saying, it's like there are all these different puzzle pieces and it's starting to fall together on the board to kind of get to that ultimate final conclusion. But at the same time, the mangaka does this great job of essentially being like, I'm also going to show you guys some key points here. So there's like a time limit that gets puts on it, right? Inadvertently, because obviously they can't charge power for forever. Deku's not where he's supposed to be. So now you have this one spot where it's like, yeah, you can hold him down, but you can only hold him down for but so long, you know. And then you have all these other fights that are staged and these different things. So there's going to be a sequence to which, you know, I'm sure they're going to be simultaneous the way we get presented to it. But there's a sequence in which things are going to happen that are either going to tip in the favor of the villains or tip in the favor of the heroes. And like I said, that's that back and forth. And it's just a beautiful job of constantly setting up this beautiful tug of war between, you know, good and dark, you know, light and evil, that kind of like splice dynamic of like, hey, how are we looking at this? I don't think it's rushed. I think if anything slower than this pace would have been unintentionally dragging out the story. And I would be more frustrated about that. But you can see that there's very intricate care and detail that's being taken to mesh the story together the way it is currently. And I think that's some consideration that needs to be taken for that.
That, and also to want to add to that is that there's a war. Like, this is a war, and like with war, is very unprecedented, where you have no control over it. Things happen in a minute, within the week, within the days. All for one, literally let everyone out of jail. The whole country, Japan, was going to havoc. Economy, everything's going bankrupt. So, and a lot of villains came out. All the heroes got retired. They said, oh, this shit got too real for me. So for them, it probably could feel rushed, but that's how war is. You have no control over it. So that's why all these heroes, as kids or as adults, they have to do what they got to do. Like Sam and Kendall says, like, they are heroes. They are what are going to be the ones to bring the new day tomorrow. And I feel like it's doing it right. It could feel rushed for some people, but if you have read your books in history, war happens in the blink of an eye and you have no control of it. And this is right now, like they said in the last chapter, in the last pages, they said that this is one of the greatest villain or something like that. Like, this
is the final boss.
Yeah, like, we are those who stand against the doom you bring. So like, they know that this is the person they have to stop no matter what if they want to have a new day tomorrow. So this is the war. So I totally understand for some people to feel like rush, but you have to see that they have said this in almost every chapter. He is a demon king. This is war. If you want to stop and have a new day tomorrow and go back to school, because they've said it, they're technically supposed to be sophomores already. But guess what? They cannot go to be sophomores because guess what? There's a whole damn demon king doing havoc on the whole country. So they got to speed this up to stop this demon king and to go back to their daily lives.
Two last things to keep in mind as well is that, one, in the Japanese school system, there's only 3 years of high school. So so they should be in their second year. They've already have the experience to be third years. Yes. They're more than capable of being considered full-fledged heroes at this point. They're more than ready to be considered full-fledged heroes at this point. And then at the same token, like I said earlier on, I think My Hero is in a novel position to basically continue having the My Hero Academia work. Like, the world can continue to exist for several different types of series. So I would super love to see, let's finish this. Let's wrap this up where it is. Deku can continue to exist in the world and do whatever and be the number one hero. But then we could go back and see other heroes. You could see other things, see how the world gets healed, essentially in another spin-off series or another OVA. And then you can see like, okay, here's aged up Red Riot, and he's doing this and this and this. He just started his team. There's so much you can do with the world the way it currently exists, but still put the end on what this story is. This is the journey of Deku becoming the #1 hero. Let him do that. Let's resolve that, and then we could build the world any other different direction from there.
Black Winter also replied back saying, I guess you are correct. However, I feel like the author of My Hero made this cast so wide just for the sake of having space. I feel like a lot of the potential of My Hero has went down the drain. There's one more. Also, when Deku was going through his Dark Knight phase, this man, his friend basically just screamed, "Come back!" And he did. And my problem is now with the story completely. It's just execution. For the first comment, if you have not read One Piece, that's a whole cast, and people always complain that has almost 1,000 characters, and it makes sense because there's people want to see more Sabo, people want to see more Law, people want to see more Killer, people want to see more Kid. So you win some, you lose some. The more cast you make, you're gonna always have flaws because you cannot make a perfect cast. Like people, like we as fans, each has a different, fan favorite character. But also people forget the whole mangaka himself has a fan favorite character himself that he wants to shine more, put more highlight moments, stuff like that. So I feel like no matter you being a creator, some of your cast members will get less shine than others, and fans will be disappointed because they probably like those because they can relate to those. I understand that with My Hero, I want to see more Miracle, but guess what? Just because I love bunnies and also I was named Bugs Bunny as a kid, I just like that character just because being biased. But does that deserve to actually get more fan favor of her in more key moments? No, not really. So I feel like you win some and lose some in some series. When your cast is bigger, you just lose some there.
I think even if you don't have the deepest of casts, you still end up with that issue. I'll give two other examples. Naruto, like I'm still waiting for this Neji Lee fight I'm gonna never get. That was kind of like a big premise. I feel like that was something I got baited into thinking that fight was gonna happen one day from the beginning of the series, and it never happened. Assassination Classroom. You don't get to see all of you're constantly following the entire classroom, but you don't really get to necessarily see full-on development of every single character. Even at the end, you kind of see the protagonists is where they come to at that point, but you don't get to see everybody's thing. That's not how that works. Again, kind of focusing back on like, hey, this is the story of Deku. This is the story of Deku. So the people and the pieces that are more tightly connected to Deku's development and pushing the story are going to get shine. And like I said, to think that you see some of these quirks come back in these more multifaceted functions and see how they show up, I think it's just kind of, like I said, important to take homage to that, because I don't think other series would be able to do it as well as My Hero Academia is doing it. However, I completely empathize with your sentiments.
I was gonna
add to see more of other people.
I was gonna add, there's with a big cast, not everybody's gonna do too much effectiveness towards the story, but they do all have a part in it where it still make them relevant one way or another. How Horikoshi's been writing like the students of Class 1A and all the other heroes, you still see them like improving themselves, and they've been training themselves. They've also worked together really well, and it's also like they all had parts to play within characters within these stories, and it's not just one part. It's usually just a lot more like different parts in general. Where like, all right, you guys convinced Deku to stay. The other guys try to find Deku, and then have this one. Have these groups try to talk and convince them, because these are the main people that we can talk to for to go through. To know like how much more information can we even get for each individual character for the class and student? Because we started My Hero Academia where Deku is this is the story of how Deku became the greatest hero, but then it got kind of changed up toward around like 330, where Deku's like, this is actually a story of how we all became the greatest hero in the world. I got the whole parallel where we first started as one with Deku, and now we're going to end it with all. with the entire classroom and everybody else's hero.
Yeah.
One for all for
Exactly.
one.
It took me.
And
At
then
first
you
it
have
took me a minute. I'm like, oh,
you know, it's
so the story
one for all.
like they're all
Yeah.
gonna collect them. Like, ah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, so that's
There,
what
like
you
I said,
meant, Tori.
there's so much themes, but like again, imagine if we did flush out. Let's just pick 5 more characters, whoever 5 you want to think of. That's how you end up with the Naruto filler arcs. That's how you end up with again the story being drawn up, because you can develop these characters but so much while also progressing the plot effectively. Like this is something that you see in One Piece all the time. Like you don't like there was a whole arc where main characters of the crew of the Straw Hat crew are not in the arc. Like in the whole Cake Island arc, you don't see Zoro. Zoro is arguably the fan favorite character. Some would argue that Zoro is actually the real protagonist of the story. I am the one that will argue that Zoro is the real protagonist of the story. I am speaking of myself. But the point in case being that there's just only so much that you can do, arc to arc, story to story, and trying to also build your world and progress your world the way that a story like My Hero Academia does. And My Hero Academia has been able to expand this to where, yes, it's centralized in Japan, but this is a world event that's happening right now in the story. This arc is a world arc. Like, yes, everything's centralized, but the ramifications is if you lose here in Japan,
you fucking up the whole country. I mean, sorry, the whole world.
The world is over. Like, I'm just gonna fill in all the pieces from there. It's gonna crumble, and that's gonna be the end of it. Like, and then I think even another point of like the whole thing of like what is feared is that even in you destroying everything, there will still always be hope. Like, so that was like another undertone premise that kind of was like slid into this chapter as well.
Black Winter said a great comment. I love what he said. Like, this is the aim of it for the show. This is the aim for the brand. I love what he said. Even though I'm not a fan of My Hero, you guys have made this conversation fun. That's the point of us. That's the point of us just having a conversation. Yes, we are fans. We're also critics, but we also just love to have conversation. And I love that you comment that because, like me, I can't wait for us to talk about Black Clover because me and Kendall, I haven't had a conversation with Kendall about Black Clover not once, or maybe we had in a group chat before, but it's been a long time, so I'm curious to see how Black Clover conversation is gonna be because I have some concerns and comments, so that's gonna be fun. But for My Hero, I understand that My Hero's not for everyone because it's a very comic book type of storytelling, but based in Japan and based in manga from the actual Japan country, and most people that read manga don't touch comic books type of series. So I really love how people just enjoy these type of conversations. And my last comment for as a whole series, like for example, this boy Monoma, I hate him. I just don't like his attitude. But also it's because he reminds me of people like that in high school that acts all cocky, like those jocks, knowing that you're out the best, but technically nobody fucking likes you. But somehow you make that one good thing out of your 4 years of high school and you actually do something to be like, oh, you know, I fuck with you, but from afar. I like what you did there from afar. It's like he actually did something dope. The past 5 chapters, he learned the quirk of how to do the warp, and he learned how to learn the quirk of Eraserhead. So you was actually useful, and you're being cocky about it, but you're actually being useful in a good degree that me myself, who I've always hated you out of the past 5 years of the series, who actually like you for the first time. So I feel like that shows that you're not supposed to like or care about every character, but if you do for the one moment, that means Hori did its job for you to actually care for it for that one time or not. So I love
same
how
thing with Shinso. Again, these characters who aren't in the class, but like their personalities, like you just kind of pointed out, they remind you of actual real world people. So you want to be again this is the talent of the artist. Like you want to be drawn to this person because hey, I relate with this person. But it's also like I think like if you really look at the students, specifically the students who were chosen to have key roles in this chapter, all very different personalities, all people who are like, I just want to be better. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm talented or not. It's a theme that you see with Bakugo throughout the series, with Momo throughout the series. It's a thing that you see with all of those students who were like the main students in this chapter. It's a scene that you see of them like, I don't even know if I'm good enough or if my quirk is worthy of being the hero, but I want to be that person. I want to do my best. I want to go beyond. I want a plus ultra. I want a plus ultra.
And plus to add, last comment as well. Each person are playing their own role. It's like a lot of people believe that there are a side character in life, but in this, yes, some of these characters are side characters, but guess what? These side characters are playing an important role. Our boys are playing the batteries to charge the whole flying cliff up here. Each person is doing the mechanic. Our boy Cementos is doing the gaps or rocks or whatever the fuck he's doing out there with the clay. So
I think he's trying to maintain the building, rebuilding certain stuff.
So each person is playing a key role, and we all have each fighters that are going to team ups in each part up there. So I feel like that's a key about the series and a key for any series. But that's not to say that not everyone has a good job to do it. There's some series that could do more. Bleach has some amazing fucking characters. Chad, but they're not used in full potential. So not to go on a full tangent about this, but this will be a great topic for the Anime Lately podcast to make sure like what characters should deserve more of a spotlight. But that'd be a great topic for another time.
I'm gonna add one more thing. The Shigaraki bring out the arms thing or the hands thing reminds me of Akira.
I can see that.
That you just lost control of the arm and you just have some kind of giant mutated arms abilities kind of thing.
They say one more comment. Don't attack me for this, but I feel like I like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, One Piece are more my vibe because of the darker themes and execution and utilization of the cast, which is nothing wrong with that. If you like My Hero and it's just average for you, that's totally fine. Me, One Piece is my bread and butter. I have a whole 6 foot, 7 foot type of Luffy. My name is Vashdi Legend on social. I will D. I love JJK. Chainsaw Man Part 2 is coming out soon in the spring or beginning of summer. So each series, if you like it, don't like it, it's fine. As long as you don't criticize or hate other people that like a series you don't like, that's fine. But I mean, that's not good. But if you just like it and it's average to you, but you can still have a conversation about it, that's more for the better because conversations are good and not just toxic saying, hey, Black Clover sucks ass, even though I do joke around about that. But hey, it's average to me. And I know some people love Black Clover and they think it's the best series on Shonen Jump. And I'm like, hey, you do you, my guy. To me, it's just average. I guess we good about My Hero then?
I mean,
I'm gonna leave that combo with a 10-foot pole right there.
I was like, yeah.
If I start telling y'all which of your favorites I think I'm in, then I'm gonna be canceled before I get to my second episode of the Anime Lately podcast.
Oh, trust me, we could have an episode sometime this year because we usually have an episode saying what's mid of Shonen Jump or what's mid of current of the season, and eventually we could have one in 2 weeks because for this Thursday we have guests already. But hey, eventually we could have what's mid of this season of anime or what's mid this season for the Shonen Jump roster, and just see what happens. Hell let loose.
Sounds like chaos. I love it.
Sam, you're gonna say something before we switch to the next conversation?
No, I'm with Kendall. I'm not gonna touch that with 10-foot pole too.
All right.
Just that's to me.
So chat comments if you left anything to discuss or break down about My Hero or any other comments you want for us to break down, let us know in the comment section in the middle and we'll reply back to you or tweet us or join the Discord server as well. Other than that, wanna do JJK? Wanna do Undead Unluck?
Undead. I'm not fully caught up, but let's do Undead.
Okay.
All right. So
how far? Where did you stop?
I'm just in the midst of the whole ghost fiasco and trying to figure out what's going on as they transition into that next part of the arc or the next part of the story rather.
Okay,
so
you're like
I'm more or less caught up.
I'm
like 3 or 4 chapters behind. I'm good to talk about it. It's fine.
So okay, not too much has happened. They just reveal even more rules within this universe and world. So it's come to mind where this world is made from both negators and umas. and there needs to be a balance between them. If one were to be disrupted, God would be angry and he would throw something at your way to stop you, that sort of thing and shit like that. So Andy's entire goal was to make God mad, and by doing that, he has to kill Umas in order for like God to take notice of him, get angry at him, and like throw shit at him to stop him, that sort of thing.
I just want to say that the panel in fucking page 11 and 10 threw me off guard. I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? Sam, I'm talking about the three
Oh
skin,
yeah,
body, and blood.
skin, blood, and bones.
That shit threw me off guard. I'm like, hold up, what? Like, I never expected for Andy to do this, or never knew it was possible. But he said there ain't no rule about my body. I'm like, what the fuck? So you are broken as fuck then, if that's the case.
What's funny is like, so in the previous chapter, Andy kills Uma Thirst, and then in corner narration, like if the Umas are the rules themselves, and if death is one of them, the entire universe are effective. So killing Uma Thirst, as of this very moment, the phenomenon of thirst itself has been wiped off the face of the earth. I mean, I guess you're welcome. No more thirsty.
No more thirsty fanboys.
Exactly.
True.
No, I think Andy has obviously experience, but also has the best concept of understanding. Like, these rules are meant to be broken.
Mhm.
Meaning, you know, a fork isn't a weapon, right? Until it's a weapon. And I think Andy is just constantly in that mindset of like, if I can think it, I can do it. If this is in the realm of possibility, all I have to do is try to do it, and then it's a thing that I can do.
It's also like, so what Andy got rid of? He got rid of thirst. He got rid of insects. Got rid of gravity, magma, and slice. So what's gonna be throwing me off guard is like, okay, what does a Uma slice do? So if you kill that, there's no more slicing, there's no more cutting, that sort of thing. And then if you kill magma, so I'm guessing there's no magma within the earth, so no Earth's core. And then gravity, killing gravity, no gravity, that sort of thing. I get it. So
I think that's like the beautiful thing about this series is like taking these, you know, we're so accustomed to looking at like elements and thinking about how those work, but it's like, what does it mean to not be able to cut? Like, how many things get affected by the idea of like, you can't break something into smaller pieces, therefore can you build anything? You know what I mean? You can't slice a cake, you can't, you know, it's just so many things that kind of go into this perspective. You know, if you can't slice, does that mean you can't break into skin? So that means if somebody's poisoned, you can't get them an antidote. Like, how deep are we going with this slice? You know, is slice different from injection? So I really like that whole aspect of this series. If anyone hasn't started reading this series yet, really a unique take on what all the different rules, orders, or laws of the world are. Like, it really pushes you to think about the concept of what exactly holds our world together, honestly.
That's what I like about this series and plus JJK, because they have rules, but some rules are meant to be broken, some rules can't be broken. So I love how like it really makes you think outside the box, but also it makes you think inside the box at the same time outside the box. It sounds very convoluted, but then it makes you think, and that's what I like about this series. Like, oh shit, like because this mangaka really like I just hope one day Shonen Jump does this type of interviews like, yo, Undead Unluck creator, how did you think of this series? Like, what is it that made you think of this concept? Like, what type of research did you have to do? Because if you will get you, like, he sometimes explain it on his comments threads, or he does explain it in some small interviews here and there. Because he says that he does his research, he actually does get some inspiration from I forgot the series that the creator passed away a couple months ago. But like, what I'm trying to say is that I love how Undead Unluck does these type of rules, but then with the storytelling, they're meant to be broken, like you said. But there's so many rules incorporated with it.
These rules are effective within it's apparently God's work of balancing up the world. And if basically Jules had a talk with Uma Moon, if I recall,
Yes.
the Uma Moon that she called for the deal with, and like
Golden
now
Page
Uma
15.
Moon is like telling her to like, yo, yeah, stop Andy, or else like a negator eliminating the rules is unprecedented, and God would never will never allow that to stand. Meaning like breaking, even doing things that killing Umas and there's regulations apparently, and God will not stand for it. God wants to follow regulation for his own planet, for his own, to create to his own ideal world. They said literally just said like each of them added with clear intentions in order to create an ideal world. So this is supposed to be God's world, yet.
But then now Undead has incurred God's wrath. So I'm like, okay, so what's next? Like, what is that gonna happen?
I think he's sending angels on him.
Yo, if he actually sends angels or actual devils out for Andy, I'm like, oh, so because the next page was it page?
Anything
17?
can happen, honestly.
Page 18, it's like you must stop it now, or else it's no use. He won't stop now. Unruin the one who worships gods. Kill Fuko for God's sake. It seems that was a mistake. That panel that says that was a mistake. I love the art, like the bone and whatever gas thing that is.
That was Andy's bones that going into magma.
Oh yeah, so that was dope.
I'm also super interested in. We haven't seen what's his original ego? Is it Victor? His original ego. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of interested in seeing how he plays back into this, because he also has a wealth of knowledge that's just missing from everything that we know about this world.
He chose to stay out of this because of Jui's will, because Jui's believes Andy and Fuku will break the cycle that Victor and Juiz has been doing for, I forgot how many cycles they've been doing this already. So I guess Victor is just sitting back and waiting for this to see how it turns out, because Andy has been changing a lot of the cycle already. So I guess Victor is kind of satisfied to see where this goes.
I think we're kind of good with what to talk about Undead Unluck. We already know like God is already, well, technically Uma Moon is the one that's exercising God's authority to enact regulation to adjust to the world. Yeah, he's sending like a worshiper, or else maybe not Unruined, but I'm gonna guess some kind of angel, an archangel dude, just to fight with Andy or something like that. Because I feel it's so supernatural kind of thing. It's where like you fuck with, if you just make someone angry, they just send their own minions on you, like their powerful minions onto you trying to fight.
I just want to say it was great writing as well for what you said, Sam, because in that same page, I love what Joey said. There would be no need for 101st loop. In this loop, the 100th, because this is the 101 chapter, and it's just funny how she's saying there's no need for 101 loop. So it's just how like it's great on the nose of the chapter itself that we are really hitting it right down the money. So I just love how it's just great timing. It just works out, great timing for you.
I mean, she also kind of gave up her immortality. Oh no, her reincarnation thing.
Yeah,
reincarnation.
In order to help like extend, like to time skip both Fuko and Andy so that they can have the equipments ready for her and stuff like that. So because remember,
it's important to kind of, I guess, keep that weight of the world perspective. Like it's constantly there, but like the gravity of like, yo, yeah, there's iterations, but there ain't no other iterations after this. Like it's done after this. If y'all mess this up, if you can't fix what you're trying to fix this time,
we're fucked.
That's why you have to like gamble everything with it. If this is gonna be the last fight, you might as well go all in.
Since chapter 92, since our girl Fuku got killed in some way, my excitement is to see chapter 102. Oh, that's ironic, because since chapter 92 to 102, I'm more excited to see, because to see what is this shining light coming down to the earth. What is this? Because even Andy said, looks like we got a special guest. So
that's why I said, yeah, like God's angels or God's minions, more of it. It's just,
or God himself. Who knows?
It's more like Andy just said, like, fuck it. Like, after God just said, yo, test me. Do whatever you want. See, like, I'm not going to do something with you. Another Uma, technically it was the Uma Moon, is the one that summoned it, because it's right. authority for its regulations, but it seems like sound like Uma still still has to follow God's orders, as well as they still have its own sentient mind. They could still follow side deals and that sort of thing like that. And now Uma Moon might actually be their enemy at this moment if continue with more regulations and more angels to fight with God. You have to bring God to Earth somehow if you want to kill him and stuff. So
it just depends who's gonna be coming down, an angel, a devil, or is gonna be coming out some type of mecha. We don't know. So could be popping out of nowhere. I'll be like, oh, so this is now a whole type of mecha series. I love it.
I mean, there's already premise for mecha, so not out of the realm of things.
Undead Unluck has been very unpredictable of what can happen and
Which
things can't happen. That's like that. So it's hard to really predict of what's to come.
I agree. So I think we're
Might
good.
Be Mewtwo.
So I think we're good with Undead Unluck.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go with JJK. I think that's chapter 177. How we all feeling with this chapter? Because I heard it's flame, and I think it's flame too.
We've been waiting to see this man do anything.
Yuta?
I think we've been waiting to see Yuta do anything, and it's just like, yes, we don't have Gojo anymore. This is supposedly the next baddest of the bad on this good side, alleged good side. So I think it was cool to see that they showed how OP it was, but they showed like the restrictions. You know, he wanted to not do anything. He wanted to just basically take everybody out with just his core ability. He was like, all right, I took out one, I took out two. All right, I can't take out everybody like this. I'm gonna have to, you kind of wrap up the chapter with like, yo, Rika, come here. And I think the timing for that and bringing them onto the manga scene with the movie, all the updates for the movie that we've just got is really good timing.
It's also like it's also good timing too, where you want to spend a good few months, 2 or 3 months of going into Yuta's story, especially when the movie is coming out. It's still out in Japan. It's still topping #1. And it's coming it's still coming, and it's just recently coming into the States in like 2 weeks. So like you want to spend a little bit more time with Yuta for the manga readers. At least they get to watch once they watch the movie, and then they get still continue getting more of Yuta. But it also gives the anime watchers a chance where after they watch the movie, they can wait until after the Shibuya arc until they get Yuta back just to see more of what he can do. But it's still this is needed for the manga readers to learn even more about Yuta. For the anime watchers that's going to be watching the movie, gives them an idea who Yuta is until like later down the line into the Culling Games arc is when we learn more about Yuta again with his more powers and everything like that.
Yuta's
so
the GOAT.
It's timed really well. And I'm
especially for the anime only watchers, like you said, because it's like, when else would you have met Yuta until this point if you didn't get the movie either? So it like I said, it feels like really good timing, man.
And still, like Yuta has been like OP. I know he doesn't want to like kill everybody. He doesn't want to kill everybody. He does give you a chance to like, hey, we don't really need a fight like this. And yet all the other sorcerers, alive or dead, this is the second life and just in this calling game to fight. They just want to fight. And Yuta is just holding him on. He's holding on. I think he can kill everybody. He could have killed everybody much sooner. However, he needed Rika to help him do that in this sort of way. And I guess in this final moment is bring out Rika, Yuta will be in a full strength state because he didn't use Rika to kill the cockroach nor the old man. And he's been tired. Yuta is tired and he's almost at its limit.
Well, it makes sense because boy has been fighting for like almost probably, let's say, 20 minutes straight just going at it.
Basically, yeah. And
this is all strong people. They kind of give us the point of introducing each of the enemies with their quantity of points to kind of give you a perspective of how strong they are. And I think I think he's gonna look to finish it in a flash because even at the end, he's like, "Give me everything." It's not just like, "Yo, Rika, come help us." Like, nah, we're going all in right now. I think he has a good idea of what their powers are. They've sparred a little bit, so it's like, I know what I gotta do, and I'm gonna end this in a flash.
Hey, but question in page 9, when Yuta, when he deflected it, there's also some going through his shoulder. Is that just the joint that's still saying, or did it actually hit him, go through his shoulder and his back?
I was trying to understand that. I didn't know if it was reflecting light or just like effects given, based off of the way the impact was. I am not sure.
Yeah,
I think it's trying to. I think it's trying to show he deflected with his arm, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I could tell that he deflected it, but the two that's right here, it shows that it kind of looks like it hit him or went through it. So I can't really tell that part, that if he did deflected it or he just got hurt, because in that next page it doesn't really show him saying ow or something like this. So or maybe
I think it might have pierced through, because like during the fall you see his hand still kind of like messed up from the blast, right. And it's hard to tell in that up sort of angle where you don't know if one actually pierced through him. But again, Yuta has this like incredible like reverse curse technique that heals his entire body, and I'm pretty sure he does feel these pain, like all the shots, all the piercing and everything, but like you can only heal so much, and you're gonna how much pain that you can actually really take. Even the Sky Girl unexpectedly can just manipulate everything from the sky. She literally grabbed onto it just so that she can rotate the blast and re-deflect it back to the guy. It's not manipulating light so that the blast of light, you're not just moving that. She literally moved up to the sky to rotate like a tornado.
Yeah, she literally changed the path she basically took the page panel and she bent the page panel back. Bend the page panel to reflect the attack back. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was probably the premise of what that power even is. It's very cool the way it's drawn, because it does look it looks like a panel or a page is being squished together.
Yeah, like a nice swirl. Like it was really dope. Like it just, I don't know, that page is fucking dope. Like page 14 and 15, and plus it's funny, the text. Girl said, "Hey, shut up, dickhead." I was like, wait, what? Girl just gave the attitude to him. I'm like, damn, that's just funny.
I mean, like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm not gonna further more comment that. Nope, never mind. Nope.
Oh, you talking about his haircut?
No, yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
He's not gonna do it.
Nope. I'm not gonna go into that. Nope, I will not. I'm not. Nope. I'm gonna not. But he does give that or Escanor kind of vibe. Not that speech is like, damn, I've never been hit by my own technique before, but sure packs a wallop. The same way with like Escanor, like got his attack deflected, like, oh man, that one actually did a number on me. Well, no wonder, I'm the one that did it myself. It's like he's cocky. He has that prideful cockiness. But a little backstory, not even a little backstory, just a little pieces in there. And then we could just like have a final fight for that character, and we're kind of technically done. I know, like we've talked about recently, where My Hero Academia, some of the characters are not getting enough time to shine. Technically, Gege introduces new characters almost every single chapter, giving them a little backstory before the fight, and then like kills them. Like you're done. You don't need too much info from them. They're just there to serve a purpose of giving the character that we know that's gonna survive, that's gonna win the fight, more depth of who they are and the characters and their emotions and that sort of thing. Because you don't usually fight someone. Both sides don't go into a fight unless it's like something they feel they need to have a motive and resolution. They have their own goals and that sort of thing. We just know like Yuta's goal is more important than the Sky Girl and this guy with the pompadour. But
well, yeah, but I like it though, because like you have to like everyone. This is literally a killing. It's a culling game. People have to die. Like people have to die.
The survival of the fittest. Like Yuta knows that if he wants to live and survive, he got to kill all of them, and he has no problem killing. Even our boy Megumi has no problem killing and racking up those points.
Yeah, I didn't think that character was gonna die. I thought that they might have been a little pivotal. I was surprised that the guy that Megumi was fighting ended up actually dying. But
Oh, like
he did leave with some
Reggie.
prolific words. Yeah, he did leave there. He did leave with some prolific words, and like I'm interested in seeing how this goes. And I'm just like, also you gonna survive, and you gonna endure what the results of your actions are. And I love that they keep kind of putting this aspect of like, in order for you to be a great sorcerer, you gotta be a little bit crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it's also like even though Gege is introducing new characters, he's also giving people like a good explanation of what their curse techniques can do as well, and that keeps us interested as well. Same way with Hoshi, introducing a new character, and if he wants to show you that person's quirk, that gives you more ideas and like of what can things to come. But when it comes to Gege, you won't miss these characters, but they can make you feel certain ways, like relatable. At the same time, like, and you see whatever abilities and fighting that they're able to do. Technically, we just find out that the guy with the Pompadour, this is the second life, because he even said like in my first life I was a moderate eater, meaning he fought a good couple of opponents, but he always won in the end, but never someone strong enough to match up to it. It really is Escanor vibe in the motion. Like I've never fought anybody that can withstand my strength, or with like an opponent that's really worthy that I can't beat kind of situation, that sort of stuff. And that's really all we need from a certain like side character or an enemy of this enemy for now kind of character. We're fun. We're done. It's just like he just loves to fight.
And for that, I can't wait for next chapter, because once he say "Come Rico, give me everything," I'm like, oh, boy's getting serious, or he's tired of the bullshit, or probably both. Because once he said that, like I knew next chapter they both dying. They have to, because
Yeah, no,
like
I don't think I doubt they make it past the next chapter. I think this is a, let me show you something. And like it may be maybe the whole chapter, but it might not even be the whole chapter. I think they're gonna just get deleted essentially. I think it's about time that they kind of flex Yuta's like breadth of ability. And it's like Gojo coming onto the scene, right? It's like, Gojo step up and actually start fighting. This ain't a fight no more. It's over.
yeah.
That's kind of what I'm expected to happen with Rika coming into play here.
And but like you said, Kendall, like this is a great time to bring you to shine, because with that movie coming to the U.S. now in the next 2 weeks, and with Japan having the movie still, so like this is a great time to promote Yuta in the manga, and plus promote Yuta's backstory in the movie right now. So this is a great time for the Yuta wave, Lord Yuta, however people want to comment on him, but this is a great time to have him shine as a character. So this is a good chapter, but damn well, chapter 178 is going to be a lot better, I feel like, because we're about to see the two tag team of Yuta and Rika go ham and ham.
Yeah, this is definitely, whenever this gets animated in like another 2 seasons, this is definitely going to be a key fight of that season.
The Culling Games, this is going to probably be in 2024 or 2025.
Yeah, it's probably that's what I said, the second season, 2 seasons from now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the other thing I want to say before we kind of switch off of this is I get a lot of different other animes as like the just kind of like impressions of like influence and maybe kind of guiding or inspiring the mangaka. I'm getting very much so Yu Yu Hakusho in this current arc. I'm very much so getting Dark Tournament. Every fight is critical. You're kind of saving up for the big baddie. There's other characters, kind of like you were talking about, Sam. Like characters come, you get to learn about their powers. You might even fall for them. It might even be really interesting. But they're flushed out thoughts and powers, and you get to see these different fights in these different spaces. It's not just completely focused around one specific team or party in a specific area. And it's just giving me like I said, it's giving me a little Yu Yu Hakusho vibes right now, as far as just like the way things are kind of happening, and the impact and the expendability, honestly, of people's life in the tournament.
It's also like everybody's like last words too. Even Reggie was like, "Yo, I know I lost, and I'm giving you my points to Megumi, the person that killed me. I'm all for the chaos that's happening at this very moment. I know you're not like he's. It's more of as like there are some sorcerers who just comes back to have fun, just to be the last man standing, that sort of stuff, because that's what the pseudo ghetto. I forgot the brain guy's name again, but he's after the top strongest on
Kanjaku?
the pedestal. Kenjaku, yes.
Kenjaku.
He's only after like the top people who survive within the culling game. And like it's more like everybody, like these new characters just are in it to in a survival game to extend their life longer or to be in the next future with to follow, even if not to follow get Kenjaku's orders, at least you live a second life where you can fight more randomly sorcerers. And right now, learning more about Yuta, he actually pinpoint every single like all the other two characters. One where a guy where he doesn't fight normal people, but then he will make collateral damage and if he ends up killing people, he gets points. And of course, not say we can't keep him alive. The Sky Girl is she only fights sorcerers out of pride. And okay, so I haven't really read the chapter 0 of JJK. What does give me everything mean when it comes to Yuta Rika?
So
You're about to find out. Like,
Rika
I don't
Rika is a I'll say it like this without it being a spoiler. Rika is a very strong entity. And he doesn't necessarily always go into the full breadth of utilizing Rika for various reasons. That's kind of also like the premise of the movie as well. So I don't want to say anything beyond that. But for him to be like, I'm going to fully utilize Rika's power is actually really relevant. Is actually very important because it's not just like, again, you think about like, what's a good example? Naruto or Shaman King, where you invoke these spirits, but you only partially invoke the spirits to a certain point, unless it's like really critical and you're like, all right, I need everything. That's kind of like the premise of what's there.
All right.
I'm happy you spoke about it because I would have spoiled probably a bit more than that. So I'm glad you spoke about it because in my head I would have said 2 other things and I would be like, wait, that's too much. But I'm glad you said, and I'm like, you know what? He did a good job not spoiling because I would have had 2 more things.
Yes, thank you for not vashaying anything.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, in 2 weeks I don't have to fast shade anymore because we're seeing the movie at 4:00. So I can't wait to see Rika, Gojo, Geto, and a few people in action. That's what I'm excited to see. I can't wait to see Gojo giving them hands.
This it's gonna be such a good movie. It's gonna be such a good movie.
So everybody good with JJK?
Yeah.
So I think last but not least is the Black Clover, right?
Yeah, Black Clover,
Yes.
chapter 322 to 325, or if anything, let's just discuss it as a whole, because I'm not going to go chapter by chapter. I'm going to just, let's just have some fun with this, Kendall. It's been a while. I don't remember how much we discussed it or how long ago. How have you been with Black Clover? Like, overall, be honest, be brutally honest about the Black Clover mindset that you have right now, because trust me, we might be on the same opinion, on the same boat. Because this is your first time to give the full discussion thoughts of Black Clover. So what's up? Talk to me.
I am, given the current pacing of the manga, I am glad they stopped the anime where they stopped the anime. That was probably the best decision of anything that's happened in this series thus far. And the reason I say that is I already see how this is going to be animated. It's going to be really quick pace. This last arc that we're going to end up essentially getting, it's going to probably be like maybe 2 different parts essentially at this point. But you're speeding to a conclusion in a series that was already fast paced. And it feels like maybe the last, I would go as far to even say 15 chapters have just kind of been a blur. You're kind of slowly getting other people back. We got the captains back in his recent chapter, but did nothing except for the one captain that that we expected to do something. And then We see Sis Gail. We see her start to kind of break apart, and it's just like, oh man, that's the only one other person. It's like, all right, well, she's not there. And then it's like, okay, well, we got Captain Yami back. All right, Captain Yami lose an arm. Like it's just so many things happening at once at this critical juncture. To basically get back to the same formula of they're too strong, but somehow Yuma and Asta are gonna just miraculously pull off some miracle. And so now we're just basically waiting to see, well, what's the thing that they do? Because that's literally just gonna be the final thing. The fight's gonna be over, and then maybe the whole story or the arc is over. We don't know. But I've been feeling very meh. If I could put it in one word, I've been feeling very meh about Black Clover for a little minute now.
Once Sam told me last week when we were about to, come back from a hiatus of, doing Shonen Ronin anime podcast, and we came back from Shonen Ronin and he told me, hey, let's not do Black Clover today. I'm like, oh shit, I totally forgot about Black Clover. And he told me it's on break. Like, oh shit, it's on break. Oh, cool. So next week. And then when I woke up this morning, I'm like, okay, let's check my analytics. How many chapters I'm behind? I'm like, 4 chapters. I read all 4 chapters. I'm like, I felt like it was the same shit. I don't like to criticize in a negativity way to series, but when I feel like Black Clover, I love the series as a whole, but I feel like the week to week, and even this binge I just did of 4 chapters felt like it was just the same cutting off point.
Do you guys feel like the people, the fandom might have overhyped certain places and stuff like that?
For me, it's not overhyped because I've read the series before it became overhyped. Or not saying the overhype of the series. I'm saying within the chapters, the 4 chapters that you've just read and that sort of stuff. I do follow Black Clover YouTubers. I'm friends with them. There's a few that I'm cool with, and but they didn't.
I mean,
like
it. They probably have like certain panels. I'm saying, like, well, how about the
which is crazy. I was not spoiled these past couple of weeks or these past month. I've not been spoiled. I was big on Black Clover, which is, I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing that there was no type of discussion about it. But more is that with this chapters, it's all about Asta and Yuno winning, and that's like the part that, for example, again going back to discussion on My Hero, JJK, and One Piece, and plus Chainsaw Man, every character could win or fight a side character, or they have a key moment. But with Black Clover, Yami, Fuego, and plus Marilona, these characters have their high moments, but they only have their hype moments to help Asta Yuno to get the final moment, and that's what sucks about that. It's like,
I think that's fine. It's like everybody still have its own parts and roles to play, and they're just there to help.
It's just that it doesn't feel.
It doesn't feel it's always Asta Yuno. Like they are the only ones that win.
Anymore. It doesn't. Like it literally from the beginning, every critical juncture gets to this point where it's just kind of like, do it for Asta. Like even Yuna just feels like another plot device for Asta at this point. Because it's really weird. It's really weird because it's like, okay, Asta is really, really, really beat up. We know he's not a regular wizard. He's basically his body's about to fall apart. And every single time it's that same thing, like, all right, you get great power, but you destroy your body more. Great power, but you destroy your body more. The art is cool. The design, seeing Notch's different crossovers for his union are super cool. We got Yami, and we got this new sword that is basically which is power, and like all of it kind of
like a tree or like elves type of thing.
It's like, but it's all happening so fast. And then it's all just for the sake of Asta. Like see the sword, you don't get to see the sword do anything cool. But again, I think it's to emphasize the point of how strong Lucifero is. But it's still it's like, oh my gosh, like I don't even get to enjoy the power-ups that I've been waiting for to see between these different people. Like we haven't had Yami in so long. He comes back, he's stronger. We don't get a full understanding of why he's stronger. Even it's almost like a pun, like in the chapter, because it's like, I don't know where all this power came from, but here we go.
Yeah, but also saying, for example, in the Great Ninja War 4 in Naruto, or the Great Ninja War 3 was it, our boy my guy fought our boy Mara, and he gave him the hell, he opened all 8 gates. He gave him the hands. And we thought, yo, my guy might win, but no, Madara kicked his ass at that very end. You know, he got him at that last corner. Cool. But my guy gave him the hands, and he was holding it down until Naruto came back alive, right? So in this, like, these captains couldn't even fight against the main boss or the main devil, Lucifer. These captains that we know as the strongest brigade, as the strongest type of captains out of all of them, couldn't even hold their own against, and only the hypest person, which is Marilona, the fan favorite character of all the captains, and Yami, all the only two. Yami makes sense because he has dark magic, so it makes sense that you could affect Lucifer. Alright, cool. But Marilona, her brother, even Fuego, he couldn't do shit either, and they're almost at the same level, is what we know. So it's like those type of moments, like, alright, cool, none of the captains couldn't do shit.
Okay, so basically, like the formula altogether, it's a little bit of, it always has to be your main two of Asta and Yuna, to be the ones to beat they get the last moment basically to take down the boss and that sort of stuff. And although like I can see why you have to try to make this big bad now is stronger than everybody else previously by beating all the captains, to establish yourself as, okay, I'm much stronger than all the other previous bosses, and I'm stronger than all your captain. This is the level of that power I am right now. That's it is dragging a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's from everything you guys just said, any of the characters could have technically killed Lucifer all this time now. The problem is,
or done a critical blow. Like there's not even like a critical damage being done.
And that's a disappointing part. Like, alright, cool, Asta, I get it. He has anti-magic. He's so special. Cool. But like, but does he literally have to do everything? Like, does he have to hold everyone's hand for him to actually succeed? Like, can we not do this all the damn time? Like, that's the annoying part.
But that's the formula that works for Black Clover, isn't it? The same way
it works,
because like if you think about it, Fairy Tales has the same thing. Fairy Tales was the same thing.
And I'm glad you said Fairy Tail, because they are doing exactly, they're making the same mistake that I feel Fairy Tail made in its original run. The 1,000-year arc isn't doing it right now, which I like. I feel like they made the same mistake where they went all in at one point, and then it just kind of was like,
Natsu always being the one that takes the final blow.
Exactly, yeah. It's like the same where your main MC needs to be the one to establish the last blow.
In which we get
because he's the main character.
He or she is the main MC. We get it. Like, they're the main MC, and they take it. But it's like, for example, with Luffy takes out the final boss always. Like, Kaido, Big Mom, and everything else. But Zoro, Sanji, Brook, they have fought Big Mom, and they have gotten a blow on Big Mom before, or on Kaido, but they don't take down the main the main boss. The captain Luffy is the one that take the final hit. So it's like, if Zoro could actually hit Kaido and hurt him real quick, alright, cool. But your captain Luffy is the one that fights him all along. But with these characters, Yami said it in this chapter, like, I can't make a dent on him no more. I'm like, okay, but didn't he just take a dent? Alright, cool. He just became serious. Now he wants to make his skin harder. So those are things that I'm looking for. Like, I want more shine for my characters of Black Clover. I don't know if I'm gonna still continue reading. Maybe continue doing binges. But for this 4 chapters read binge I read, it feels very meh and very average for me. I was hoping for a bit more, and like back when we started the new year, this is literally where we left off. Like back in January 5th or 6th.
Yes.
It was literally, Lucifer came out, Asta was on the ground. All we're doing right now is just rinse and repeat. Okay, Fuego, go fight. Okay, the captain's lost. Okay, Zoro, go fight. Boom. Okay, okay, go fight. Boom. No.
They're just there to help. They're just there to kill time for Asta to break back up.
It's a stall. It's a stall for Asta. It's a big stall for Asta. And like you said, I literally just read the chapters from the second week of January to now, and nothing has happened.
You see?
Nothing has happened in that time. Nothing has happened. We've been at this fight. Basically, we was like, all right, it's Lucifer. Lucifer has been summoned. That's basically how we started the year, and we're just still here. Nothing critical has happened since that point. And it's just like,
And
You
then, like,
in this instance, if you're going to lag the fight like this, then draw it out properly. If you're gonna give me a stall, give me a stall with like epic sequence of fights with different people. Give me you not doing something super impressive so that it's like, okay, it takes away from the me realizing that you're just stalling for Asta. It just feels like every single chapter has been like, well, we gotta get to Asta. Okay, Asta's not fully healed. He's gonna do something miraculous. All right, Asta needs a little more time, so we'll give you a quick little fight between Yami. Yami and Notch should have been its own chapter. That whole fight, I would have preferred it to be a whole entire chapter. Go into that, show me some special combos that only they could have done. They've never had an opportunity to fight together like this. Like, give me something more from that.
I agree with that.
It just felt like it was all meshed together, and so now I don't have any choice but to focus on the fact that, well, all you did was stall time for Asta.
I wouldn't mind.
Do something.
I wouldn't mind if Nak and Yami was 2 chapters. That one chapter flashback as both of them when they were friends and the brother. Oh shit, you know, there's a reunion. But man, Nak, I want to die. No, you're Captain Yami. Don't do this, blah, blah, blah. And then next chapter, they fight together. Cool moves, they double attack. You know,
yeah.
And when Yami went
like
inside the shadows too, I'm like, oh shit, that's a cool tag team.
Even that shot where, and again, I know it's gonna be animated better than we're reading it right now. But even that shot where it was like, Notch was like, well, I'm willing to do whatever. Before Yami comes back in and says like, nah, you can't die. That could have been the end of the chapter. That would have been such a cool cliffhanger for the next week. You come back in, Yami's like, no, and then you see all of these super special combos that you wouldn't normally see because they Notch hasn't really been a part of the team to begin with. And then you kind of get this call back to the brother. You get this kind of like redemption. It's like, yo, Yami, I see you as like this person. In my brother's eyes, it's like, yo, I see you as this person for your brother. Your brother always said that we were like the same person, and play into that a little more. Again, they still could get loose. It could have still been a stall, but it just felt like it could have been flushed out some more. Again, I think in the anime, I bet this ends up being 2 episodes. Just like breaking apart like what's going on in this chapter is gonna probably be 2 episodes by itself because there's just so much there.
I agree, and like again, we're not criticizing in a negative way. We're just hoping for more. We like Black Clover as a series. We just want more of the series that it has a potential. But if Tabata wants to stay in the Shonen Jump type of trope and wants to stay in this route, all right, cool. That it's for you. That's for other fans. I'm gonna probably still read the series, but if me, Kendall, and the whole squad wants to continue covering it, maybe we might switch out and talk about Sakamoto days or anything else. Because right now for Black Clover, we feel like it's very stagnant. Maybe if we continue reading and there's a really good moment that we actually want to discuss, we will bring it. That's perhaps. But right now for Black Clover, I read it and I felt like, like, for example, if Kendall was not here and it was just me and Sam, I would be like, nah, I'm good on Black Clover. I could wait for another time. Like, that's the honest truth.
Yeah. I actually want to ask you guys, like, does the villains ever like still stay alive and then come back afterwards, or they just literally wiped out once for the arc to end?
The only villains that stay alive are the elves, but they weren't villains. They were just pure hatred because of what they thought that they presumed that happened. So the elves still alive.
So the reason why I asked why, like, does any of the villains survive in a way? Because if you have you can establish a villain's power. Like, they can be very OP. Oh, they beat all the captains. They killed all this. This is the top, the king of hell. This is the devil himself. And like, if you don't see them surviving, like, what's next? What next enemy that you could come in that's also gonna be OP? Like, you're gonna establish for more chapters. There's no.
So there's a devil. There's a devil in this chapter, Sam, to kind of speak to what you're speaking of as far as like that dynamic. There's another devil in this chapter, and Lucifero is like, yo, help me. And they're like, I'm not helping you. I forgot the name of the devil right now. But like, I think that's kind of like what you're kind of alluding to, where it's like, well, what's next after this? Because this definitely can't be the final thing, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like, all right, there's definitely room for some other person to kind of fit in there. But then it's just like, what are their powers? Because these devils, yes, they certainly have abilities, but at this point, Lucifer doesn't have a real power besides just being ridiculously OP and strong.
Yeah, Sam. We haven't seen
just super strong.
We have not seen his actual magic so far. We have only seen pure strength.
it's also like I'm also asking like, is there any more stories with Lucifer himself other than his
We don't know. So one other thing I
all
want to
we
comment
know,
is that
all we know is that Lucifero killed Asta's mom. Sorry, spoiler. My bad.
That, and also the one thing I kind of like. All right, cool. These past 10, 12 chapters since the month of January of the new year, for us in 2022. If it has always been for Asa stalling, cool. But if there's been some type of reveals about Yuno or by Lucifero, or if there's been like a monologue of the villain, no. All that's been said from the monologue of the villain, I need to kill Asta. That's it. He's a dirty little human. That's all he have said to us, really. That's
all I'm getting.
I kind of want Asta. I kind of want Asta to die at this point.
That gives me the whole. That gives me the whole Bleach vibe in a way, which just there's gonna be a villain of the big villain of the arc, and then they're gonna get killed, and then move on to the next.
If they kill Lucifero, I'll be disappointed because I'm like, in the mythos, Lucifero is the king of all demons. He's the man of the demons. He's hell of himself.
But from what you told me, you established he's not even the head. He's not even the king. He's not even the.
He does not have absolute authority. Is what I have noticed based off of some interactions
with other devils.
So yeah, like it's just gonna be like a devil of the arc of the devil.
Let's see.
Disestablishment kind of thing.
Let's just see what happens next in this chapter in the next couple of weeks. Because I'm just hoping for more. A lot of people are theorizing if this is the end of Black Clover after this arc, if there will be more. Because I used to say back in the beginning of last year when we used to do solo reviews for each series, I thought Black Clover was gonna go to a dwarf arc because with the dwarves in the kingdom, a medal, new swords for Yami, stuff like that. We also thought about the angels, with the archangels, those stuff, like that storytelling. Mm-hmm. But now with the way a year later, I don't really know where it's gonna go, and do I care? Still, yes. But am I hopeful or optimistic about it? No. At this point, whatever Tate does is whatever he does and whatever he chooses to, because it really depends where the fuck he cares, because it mostly looks like it's just more of those shonen trope that he really is kind of going for.
I mean,
yeah. Again,
one series already.
This good to the series. Just in case anyone is wondering, we're just harping on the very critical point of where it is right now.
We just
want potential. Good about Black Clover. The stuff that's good about Black Clover is still good. Your characters are still there. Your powers are still there. The art is still there. It's still good. But there's just these little niches of like criticism where we are at this particular junction at this point in time.
Agree.
But I mean, a big series already ended, which is Dr. Stone, and I think at this point we still need the Black Clover fandom, its popularity within the Shonen Jump. So
we don't. Black Clover in sales, Sam, is low. Like Black Clover has popularity. It just doesn't have high sales.
Oh really?
Yeah. Black Clover, the reason that it's there, I believe, is more because popularity. Sales wise, it's not that high.
Because that's scary though. That's gonna be that could be another possible Bleach incident that comes afterwards.
Yeah, watch us not get the final arc of Black Clover.
Who knows?
Or we just rush within like 10 chapters or something. That maybe even less.
Yeah.
It really depends on Black Clover. So me, who knows? At the end of the day, who knows? But me, I'm good. I don't want to talk any more negativity. I just hope for good potential of the rest of this arc and ends well, nice. Maybe if I do a nice reread by the end of the year, maybe we'll do better. For me, who knows? But for me, I'm just being hopeful, optimistic for some goodness of Black Clover. That's all. So Kendall, any last words?
I think it's gonna end. I think it's gonna end fine, man. I think it's gonna end fine. I just think that we have to realize that it's a dawn of an era. It's a turn of another era. We've in the past 3 years, Promised Neverland, Haikyuu, Attack on Titans, like you just said, Dr. Stone. Things are starting to wrap up. My Hero is progressing to a conclusion. Black Clover is progressing to a conclusion. It's been almost a decade of some really critical, really beautiful series that we have gotten, and I think it's fine. I think it's okay. I think we're super hyped about things. Demon Slayer, just another one like that has concluded itself at this point, and I think it's good that we've been able to see this cluster of series because especially expanding out to the Western audience, because it's like for a lot of people it was just Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon, or it was just Pokemon, or whatever the case. And now people have so much more diversity in the series that they have. We just got the remake for what's that shoujo? Why can't I think of the name right now? Man, killing myself with that. Point of the matter is we're getting a lot of stuff. We're getting remakes of things. We're getting retouches of things. We're getting sequels of things that we haven't seen, like Zatchbell and stuff. So I feel like it's just a good point in time, and we just have to accept. We have to accept where we are with certain things. We got Shaman King remake. You know, there's all these different things that's kind of going on. Eden Zero as another spin-off series for the fairy tale mangaka. Like, there's things going on here, and I think we've just had this cluster of so much good things for such a long time. It's a lot of people are feeling the pressure of like, oh my god, my favorite series is going away.
I mean, I can also actually see, like, since you remind me, Zatchbell is coming back. You think Zatchbell is going to be the one that's going to be taking Dr. Stone's big standing place? Because we know Zatchbell has been very popular too back then. And
yeah, if it's anything, it'll be I think Dr. Stone is the right one of the monikers. It's gonna be that kind of offside. It is shonen, more or less kind of a series, and it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be some lightheartedness, some fun to it, but it'll definitely be a good series that will catch people's attention. Depending on what they decide to do with it, because I have no idea what this actual pathing is for this series, so I'm looking forward to kind of getting some more information. Might need to go find out whatever this is and go pick it up and start reading it. But I think we'll see. We'll start to see some things. I think there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of good stuff coming out right now. You have Orient. I think Orient is going to continue to blossom. It's been something that people have been waiting for to kind of get its own shine as far as the anime is concerned. Something that people have been asking for basically since Black Clover and My Hero Academia started to blow up. People were like, well, why not this series? So I think we'll see that. I think there's a lot of webtoons out there that still also have the opportunity to get it shine and kind of step into the light as well. So we'll see. I would love to see Tower of God come back. I want to see it come back. I want to see them. Please do not try to put the entire season 2 inside of a series. It's not going to fit.
Tower of God
don't do that.
Tower of God could do a season 2 without doing some type of reboot. God of High School definitely needs more of a clarification.
No, I'm so sorry. Don't bring it back. Don't bring it back. You had your shot. I'm so sorry to be mean about this. I love that series so much. Please don't bring it back at this point, because you should have done the justice that you needed to do out the gate. You should have taken your time with it. There was an opportunity. You had the opportunity to walk us through something, and you meshed several arcs into 12 episodes. No, I don't see how you come back from that, because the way that the audience is now, what you're saying is you're going to bring me back a slowed down pace version of something that you already released to me. And quite frankly, for most people who didn't read the webtoon, they felt God of High School was fine. I don't think there's a way that you remake this and get what you need to get out of it, in my opinion.
I agree. You're 100% right on that. So I totally agree. I can't not add anything more to that, because you're 100% right on that. So, but on the Black Clover side, I'm done. I'm good. How about you, Kendall?
I'm gonna see it through. I'm also about to finally pick back up Tokyo Revengers, because that Tokyo Revengers also made me upset and I stopped reading it. But I'll be probably caught up on that soon. Oh, we also Fire Force. See, there's so many things. Our era is literally changing. Our era.
It ended last week.
It just finished last week. Like, our era is changing right now. Our era is actually visibly changing. The era of anime and manga that we're in right now is visibly changing.
So even though Dr. Stone is ending, we can't wait for Bochi's next work as well.
And his
art styles and stuff. But yeah, we could definitely see. Hopefully, he does more of the art for another this Shonen Jump Shueisha series for sure, though.
But other than that, so with Black Clover conversation ended, now let's do our last segment of the show, and it's what was the chapter of the week for Weekly Shonen Jump 14. So out of the 4 series you cover, or the other series you read, that's part of the Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 14 that came out today. What was your favorite?
You want to go, Kendall, or should I go first?
I'm still thinking about it. What was my favorite from this set?
I haven't caught up with all this. I haven't read all the new chapters just yet for the other series, so I can't do like a full all on which was a better chapter. I thought everything was okay. I thought it was all right for what it is. My hero is establishing like the reveal of how the hero's plan to stop Shigaraki into a way to like stop this his decay quirk, his flying quirk, and like neutralizing the other quirks and that sort of stuff. And this was the plan to build up a whole flying island so that he can't reach to the bottom in 90K and they can all have an all-out fight with him. Cool. JJK, more establishment of Utah and to build and like the fight between the other two people in the city district that he's in. I can already tell like the Utah arc can end in the next 2 to 3 more chapters because that should be enough time where the US gets to watch the movie and like Utah's story we can move on to another character like Maki or
Maki.
Or like or Panda or the other like JJK characters. We're ready to move on to the next character, but we want to see the end results of these fights, especially with Utah and his going all out fight in his powers and stuff.
Yes.
Undead Unluck it's still building up to its own world building stories of establishing what Umas are, the data laws, and the whole kill as Luma, you kind of stop a certain law for God. And like here's the consequences of what happens in this world if you were to make God angry because you kill his Umas. And now like what happens so far as world building. From what you guys told me, Black Clover is still on its still dragging vibe of fighting with Lucifero, but all the other characters are fighting him just so that you could just see almost full power establishment of each character. Is that what's going on? Like everybody's just having their moment of doing their own final attack onto a giant OP devil kind of guy, but nobody's having this sort of effect towards him, which I think that's considered dragging, just dragging the story along. And that's really it. It's really hard to. They all did okay. That's what I'm trying to say, but I don't know if I could pick a top one from the entire stuff and that sort of thing.
All right, so for me, I would say my top out of the ones I read today, because I didn't get to finish from all my other series, because I should be caught up by tomorrow, because I'm also going to read Ayashimon. I've been telling me that for weeks, but I haven't got the chance, but my work schedule this week is will be very easy now, so I'm going to catch up to that, and a couple other new series that I've been meaning to. But for the 4 ones that I read today, I have to give it for My Hero Academia, because JJK and Undead Unluck felt like a set of chapter for more for what's going to happen next week. So I feel like those chapters going to be a lot better for next week. Black Clover, like we spoke about, was So I have to give it time for Kaiju number 8 and also My Hero. Like both were great chapters because they did give us information and they did give us of the current events of how it happened.
Yeah, I am similar but slightly different. I think JJK did a little bit better than My Hero Academia. But I definitely also co-sign that it's a tie with Kaiju number 8. I'm actually willing to say that it was Kaiju number 8 this week that had the better chapter. There was a lot of things that was flushed out. You got to see a lot of dynamics. A lot of new things were introduced into dynamic comparatively to all the other seasons that have kind of just been rehashing of what's already established on the field. So for that reason, if anything, I would give it to Kaiju number 8. It felt like a very solid, really balanced chapter. And then, like I said, right after that, I would go with JJK and then probably My Hero Academia in that specific order. I get your point though, but yeah.
All right, so for that being our chapter of the week Shonen Jump issue 14 of 2022. Kendall, since your first time for being on the Shonen Ronin show, where can the people find you anywhere? Give your plugs.
Yes, sir. You can find me at KendellxAnime. That's Kendall with 2 L's, KendallxAnime. And that's on most of my social medias. If I'm not on with them, you should be able to just find me by searching that.
Awesome. And you can find myself and Sam and all the plugs down below at LegendDVash and at SamtheMangaMan and at Anime Lately everywhere else on social media, Twitter, IG, Twitch, everything else down below for the links of where to find us in the whole social media team of Anime Lately, and careful for spoilers, and the rest of Also an A podcast is down below. All the links are where to find us and the beautiful people of Spicy Late Entertainment and everyone else. So we will see you guys on the next one. Take care. On this Thursday, we will be having Pat and Yin from Studio Maho 100% for sure. I'll see you guys on the next one.